These days are such days where you cannot say anything directly to the children. Even if you're praising, you have to be cautious, even if you want to correct them. So we need to have our evidences because these days children they are all driven by so much of data. The educational content and curriculum alongside the examination patterns need to focus on creativity and analysis. People need education to know, create, innovate, empower technology, and the traditional system of instructional delivery should go hand in hand. None of them can be replaced by the other.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I'm your host Seema Chhoriya. To stay ahead of the curve and keep pace with the fast challenging world, we must make appropriate alterations in our learning system. Today, it is not important to know the answers to the question, but rather to know what questions to ask. In today's episode, we are exploring some key concepts for Education 4.0, which is built for AI age with our accomplished guest of today, Mrs. Roomana Malek. She is principal of ALTIUS FORTIUS High School, Nadiad, Gujarat. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. We are really honored to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's equally a pleasure for me to join this platform and share thoughts with all those thought provoking topics, and I'll try to make a positive difference in the current scenario of education.
We are equally excited, ma'am, to have something more meaningful and ensure that our learning system does improve with our constant efforts. So before we dig in into the interesting topic of today of making children future ready, let us first understand from you what was your student life that guided your career choice. Because when you go back to once upon a time, you get a masala hit movie with lots of ups and downs and smiles and tears, and we want to know that part of your life.
My goodness, that is really a great flashback, but uh, so many times in a day I go across. For me, education has never been in the blood. Rather, it would not be exaggeration if I say that education and schooling, typical school, is in my genes. Since I belong to a family where my parents they have been principals of Tata schools. So since I was in the cradle, I have seen principals, lesser parents, but more the principals. And at the same time, I am honored to say that uh, the entire of my schooling has been done from Tata School. My parents also have been retired from there. So it's on and off that I have been speaking of this. But then again, when it came to my school days, it was more or less the same kind of, you can say, blended mix of disciplines, of principles. If I quote it in the filmy version, Parampara, Pratishtha, and Anushasan, like what the Big B says in one of his pictures, it's the same that I have lived, I have embodied. But soon after the school days, when it came to college life, I then started honoring, I then started treasuring what I had already learned in my school days, because more or less it so happened that majority of them in the college they say, oh, what difference does it make from whatever school you come from? It's all that the college makes the difference. No, it's not so. And now, when I am into this field, after my college studies, my universities, and everything is done, and I'm into this field for the last so many years, I'm able to see that what is the correct difference, the positivity and the values that a school imbibes into every student. So this is all about my journey. If I have to say a bit more, then I could say that I have more than 10 years of experience as a seasoned school leader and several more as an educator. And this has instilled in me an enduring respect for mindful education and leadership. My learning and work experiences in Gujarat, specifically the Kheda region and the Anand region. It has given me exposure to a range of curricula and syllabi, as well as diverse ideological and cultural perspectives. On the personal front as well as the professional front, I balance an uncompromising work ethic with an ability to thrive under pressure. While I work well with structures, I'm equally interested in building school cultures through transparency, empathy, and true collaboration. And what is exactly Romana? Romana is a school leader at heart and a wonderful manager, a wonderful human being. So, anyone from across the same fraternity could get in touch with me to exchange ideas, to explore questions and possibilities in the field of education. So, this is all about me.
So, ma'am, the interesting point that I understood from your journey is that the importance of foundation and the importance of school education. Yes, we all think, that when we enter into college, then we hear this doesn't matter, we all are equal now. But we see the vast difference in how the child, perceives things, because the schooling, that what kind of schooling that child comes from, that is where the difference we can see. Because there you understand that this child grasps things quickly, this child is more social, this child gels up quickly. So these are the very kind of differences which can be imbibed only during foundation years at your school age. So from ma'am's journey, we have learned how important schooling is. So to all my dear teachers, educators, parents, students, please focus on your foundation years, because your entire future depends on this. So this is how ma'am's journey inspired her so much that she took up this profession. Hailing from the family of educators, it's not easy, right? Because you have a lot of expectations on yourself too, right, ma'am? Was there
Exactly.
some similar?
My parents have raised the bar for me
Yeah. So
because
were you
if
always
we
expected
if
to
we
give
look at
more?
role models, I have role models right in front of my eyes daily. Every morning, every evening, right in the morning, they remind me of what should be the challenges that I face and what are the expectations that the parents, students, and the stakeholders would be laying for me. And at the same time, every night, these are my role models that I look up to, and I feel that, oh, today's day was a good day.
Right. No wonder, you have these kinds of obligation when you have such role models. So we heard, man, that how, when you have already the benchmark set, then you always have to be better version of your own self and strive to go ahead. So moving ahead to my next question to you, ma'am. You have seen your
Yes,
parents as school leaders, and now you are yourself one. So how you have witnessed the change in the, the shift in the role of principal? What do you think was the core responsibility of theirs and now yours?
ma'am, actually, in earlier days, as we all have seen in more or less degree, we have seen that school leaders need to be a perfect mix of everything, more on the stricter side, lesser on an approachable personality. Uh, this is where I would contradict a bit because these days are such days where you cannot say anything directly to the children. Even if you're praising, you have to be cautious. Even if you want to correct them and you want to say something in a firm manner, you need to be very cautious. Why I'm saying this is if we are praising someone, the other children who are hearing, they might feel, what was that I lacked? How could not I stand to that level? At the same time, if we are telling them something in the firm manner to correct their maybe behavior or their writing part or their study time, whatever topic we are speaking upon, today's children they feel that why I? Why is it I? And why do you have to tell me in front of everyone or even in private? So we need to have our evidences because these days children they are all driven by so much of data, so much of information. It wouldn't be exaggeration if I say that today's youth they are drowning in information but hunting for knowledge. Actually, they do not know how to use the information available to them. So that is how they compare each other, and they always feel there is always a sense of comparison hidden into them, and we never know what could be a trigger moment. So this is how it all happens. And when it comes to school and the leader, there's a huge responsibility. You have to strike a correct balance because they are ready with all the information, and there's so much of technology. You know what COVID has done to each one of us, whether it is the school management or the principal or the parents or the teachers or the students. Internet has become an inevitable part of our lives now. So then we need to be really mature adults. We need to know much before we speak something to the adult or to the child. So there are immense responsibilities on our heads. And then you also know that after COVID, everyone has become so techno savvy that it has burdened us rather than easing our lives. How has it burdened that the responsibilities on the shoulder of the pedagogical leader is to address the issue of educated unemployment. You know what it is all about. When
Yeah.
I say educated unemployment, I say it very responsibly. uh, because everyone wants to become doctors, engineers, CAs. They all have their goals in life. But then, education in India, is it guaranteeing employability? Does education in India have a direct connection with employability or a good job? If I tell it in a simple language, earning a good degree, will it guarantee a good job? No,
No.
it won't. Because on one side there are people who are looking for jobs, and on the other side there are employers who are looking for people to work for them. And the real reason for educated employment unemployment is the gap between the kind of skills that are required by the corporate world and the kind of skills that are available in the market. And it is therefore very important for educational institutes to provide education and skills as required by the corporate world. And at the same time, it is also important for the students to focus more on skill development rather than focusing only on marks and degree.
Absolutely.
So, this is what all I believe.
Absolutely, ma'am. Completely agree with you. And here you have actually brought in some thought provoking questions. Many strings must have pulled somewhere. Hearing this, that what is the vast difference between the kind of education we are providing and kind of future which our children are going to tackle. So, but time has come. We all need to awake. It's not about just pulling the string, but time to take the action. And yes, you very rightly said that now we are gone as the industrial revolution. We are in the information generation now. So we need
Exactly.
to ensure that our children are with the in pace with this fast changing world. And as you said, technology has become inevitable part of our lives, connecting us globally. It's no more that you have to have your future lies in the vicinity. Now your future is a global future. So you need to ensure that you are at par with the other countries too. So tell me, ma'am, how can we can help our children to learn faster and more effectively in this changing world, so that they reach their full potential and are ready to face any kind of challenges that might life might throw upon them.
First of all, I would start by saying that the entire education system needs to be revamped and revitalized. In fact, we all know about NEP 2020, and it's already rolling now, and lot many talks and things are going on. So I wouldn't speak much about it. But yes, the entire education system needs to be revamped and revitalized. At the same time, the educational content and curriculum alongside the examination patterns need to focus on creativity and analysis. There should be a clear emphasis on the quality, not simply the quantity of education and research. Also, that the higher education should be remodeled to attract more students. uh, when I say all this, I have some reasons because, see, first of all, the education is broken. Speak to someone who's just got a bachelor's degree, they'll tell you that there are no jobs. But the reality says it's quite contradictory. The reality says that 97% of all the engineering graduates, they aren't employable. That's horrible. Now imagine what is happening for other bachelor courses. Also, that most government institutes, they aren't doing well, because except for a few states, the government school colleges, they suffer from poorly designed curriculum, subpar quality of applicable content, and lower than acceptable teaching pedagogy. If I speak about the IITs and IIMs that are in India, the impact of IITs and IIMs, it is minuscule in the grand scheme. Also, that the incentives aren't aligned. The private edtech, they have incentives that are aligned on the revenue, but most they don't care about the learning outcomes, and surprisingly, the product still sells on the fear of signaling. So then, why should they solve for outcomes? Now, again, solving for outcomes is hard. It takes grunt work in designing an in depth curriculum at the primary, secondary, and at the graduation level. If we add to the applicability in the real world, it becomes 10 times harder. And the final nail is for solving for user adoption and pedagogy. But then, what would it really take to solve the education system? If I start with the number one thing, it could be perspective. Peer learning is the core part of everyone's learning. Students, they learn from hostel friends more than they learn from the professors. Also, you also learn from smart kid in the class or in the college who asked interesting questions to the professor or to the teacher. So this is the very first thing. What is the perspective? It should be the learner cohort curation. Second, I would say that the learning should be pedagogy based application. Every curriculum designed to be looked as what craft the learner will build after this. They should drive what case studies to be used to explain a framework, what depth and breadth should it cover, and how it will be applicable in the real world. And then, last but not the least, no full-time professors or teachers, only great craft builders who teach on the side and are invested in their crafts, who are all masters. This helps them bring the real-world cases and frameworks to the class. They wouldn't ever try to fit in the theory into examples. They'll have everything new for each child and for each learning style of their student in class.
This looks like a dream framework, ma'am. So
I know it's more of an ideal thing, but then there's nothing wrong in trying at least to reach these goals. At least if each one of us collectively work for this, we can have a better future. We can have Indians as better global citizens.
completely agree, ma'am. The joint collective effort of each one of us would require to have such kind of learning system, and which is a must now. And that is why government has awakened. They had drafted the visionary NEP. Now let's see how it's executed, and we all are looking forward to it. And hopefully now even educators, teachers, students, everyone is aware that how future would be, and now no more the rote methods, the conventional methods would work. So even I'm
Exactly.
very, yeah.
People need education to know, create, innovate, empower, but academic capitalism has largely discredited the quality of India's contemporary education. Restructuring the educational system is not possible overnight.
True.
Instead, gradual but steady steps taken by each one of us in the fraternity need to be taken at both the macro levels of the government and the management bodies and the micro levels of teachers and students collectively. This is what I believe.
Very true, because when each and every stakeholder vision is aligned with the core vision of improving the learning system, then only something can happen. And I'm sure with leaders like you, these kind of visions are reaching to the right people and right changes are happening. the wave have started, ma'am. Now let's see how far it spreads and how far we are able to bring this change. So, ma'am, it was a wonderful, delightful conversation here. We had a lot of thought provoking questions. That is our education system fit for our children, the one who are our biggest asset? As a parent, they are for you. As a country, they are the biggest asset, and also for the global community. Our future is in the classroom, so we all need to collectively make an effort to ensure that when they step into the world, they have something much better and bigger to offer for themselves and for the community as a whole. So thank you so much, ma'am. Today I understood one thing from you: just don't just watch the clock, do what it does, and that is keep going. So this is what I learned from ma'am, and she was always like, do we have to make a change, we all have to take an effort. So today
Exactly.
she made this effort. Yeah.
Exactly, ma'am, because it is on each one of us. In whatever capacity we can do, we should contribute our might, we should do our bit that the society needs from us. This is the
So true,
immediate
ma'am.
need of the hour. Because if we speak about global issues, more we should be worried about Indian issues. You see, education is directly linked with employment. Employment is correct, exactly linked with poverty, and then it comes to population, and the list is endless. So why not first join the very two dots, that is education and unemployment, and the others will rightly fall in place in due course of time. This is what I
Absolutely.
think so.
Education is at the heart of all the issues. Once this is resolved, we will see a drastic change in how things progress. And there will be a time when we will also be in the league of developed nation. No more so called developing since so many years. And
Exactly,
I'm
man.
sure the glory will
Exactly.
come back. Yeah, so ma'am, today, I would like to congratulate you first to be very open with the reality. People are not ready to accept the reality. They will just talk that,
Thank you, ma'am.
nay, this is good, or, blame government and blame everyone. But today you brought in a change by taking the responsibility on our shoulders. You decided that let's take this responsibility and let's collectively help each other, because as you said, revamping can't happen overnight. We all need to make a collective effort. So today I loved what ma'am said, because it really takes guts to accept this, that yes, change needs to begin from us and we are responsible for this. So on
Ma'am,
this note,
in our own school, Altis Fortius High School, it is a small place. Nadiad is a small place, and the location of our school is, you can say, in a rural area. But then again, in the 2 years of pandemic, we revamped our entire delivery system. Now we have removed all the chalk and boards. We only have interactive boards, and you might be surprised. I welcome you. In fact, I look forward to a day when you would come into our campus and visit. Each and every classroom is having the digital system of instructional delivery. So it's like addressing all the kinds of learners, all the kinds. VARK model is what we are following, where we are having those learners who go by the visual, the auditory, the reciting, and the knowledgeable parts. It's all being done nicely entwined. But then again, it is that technology and the traditional system of instructional delivery should go hand in hand. None of them can be replaced by the other. If this can be done, and again, if education reaches to every nook and corner, whether it is with RTE or without RTE, we are able to educate every child of India. Days wouldn't be far when we see a better India, and our children would never ever dream of going to the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. No, all the children would love to work to stay over here in India, and we would have a better country for us.
absolutely, ma'am. And again, setting an example when they can create such a tech savvy, technologically advanced environment at school at this location, then I'm sure many schools in metros are still not able to do it. They are still sticking to chalk and board method. So technology is here to stay, and so are teachers. Without right kind of teachers, even technology would not find its way. So we need to encourage children, motivate them, and make sure that they become a learner, and try to absorb the right kind of information, try to fetch in the right kind of information. This would be the role of teachers. So, ma'am, as ma'am said, the technology and the teaching fraternity, when they intertwine together, that is when magic will happen and we will see the drastic change coming forward. So, thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your vision, ideologies, and journey with us. I, feel blessed that to have a privilege to hear your wise words, and I'm sure that they will resonate far and wide in the world of education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.